Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Two Shot Tuesday. This is the best night of the week. Barry T. Nixon and I always say that. I'm your host, Jason Riley, along with my colleague, Barry T. Nixon. Barry, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Jay. I'm pleased to be your colleague, your co-host, and on occasion, your priest.
Yeah, on occasion, I do confess things to you. And so the absolution you give me is usually pretty good. It usually starts and ends with a couple shots of whiskey.
I was just going to say that.
Maybe we should work through some of that right now, because
I think we should.
For those of us joining us for the first time, we have a format on this show. It is called Two Shot Tuesday. We record on a Tuesday, we release on a Tuesday, and we do two shots. What have you got?
It really couldn't be more literal. It's perfect.
What have you got for shot number one, Barry, tonight?
Jay, I'm sticking with this new whiskey that I discovered a couple of 3 weeks ago. McConnell's. You may recall it was part of our 250th celebratory episode, and I got to tell you, I can't wait for you to try it on a future visit to the mini mansion.
I'm excited, and I'm excited that you said a couple of 3 weeks ago. That sounds like 6 weeks ago, because it's a couple of 3 weeks ago, kind of like in down home country.
Exactly. That's what my grandfather used to use, that turn of phrase, and we could never figure out exactly what time frame he was referring to, but for some reason it's always stayed with me.
Nice. I also like
what about
turn
you?
of
What
phrase.
Have you got, sir?
I just also enjoy turn of phrase. It's fun too.
Yes.
Classic Jameson, taking us right back to probably our first episode. This has been with us periodically on the show. So, to your good health, good sir.
And to yours. And to our viewers. Cheers.
Cheers. Lovely. Lovely. It looks good. Looks good. When on the camera, it looks good when we're taking it. We are enjoying it. We should let our listeners know that, and viewers.
We should. Now, did that shot leap over the tongue and go directly down into your gullet, or did you actually catch any of the flavors?
You know what? It kind of split as it came in, and it hit both sides of my tongue. Like I could feel it on either side. That's the Jameson hug is not always in the same place twice. It's important to know.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, let's begin the broadcast. Jay, you sent me a text a little earlier this week with a rather startling tale, and you just teased it because, we don't really discuss much before we meet here in the studio. So why don't you take our listeners through your harrowing tale that happened just a few days ago?
Yeah, of survival, I would say.
Right.
It happened Friday. I was out for a walk with executive producer Aldo Roma and London, our dog, and as I was coming up on a hedge on a corner that we've turned many times, a wasp thought that it would be a good idea to sting me, who was doing nothing antagonistic towards this wasp at all.
Ouch.
London, maybe. I wasn't paying that much attention. He might have kicked up a little bit of a fuss. This wasp stings me. Barry, I haven't been stung by a wasp in years. In fact, I remember the first and only other time I was stung by a wasp, I was visiting my aunt and uncle in Akron, Ohio, coming home with my parents. And as we were loading up the car, I was stung by a wasp going down their stairs, and it hurts. Like it stays with you, a wasp sting. In fact, today's kind of the first day it hasn't been itching, but there's still even a little bump there. But it's like Friday's kind of searing pain. Saturday, it kind of moves over to more itching and annoyed. But yeah, it's quite unpleasant. Luckily, I wasn't allergic. That was really the important thing, because some people
I was just going to say, I mean, imagine you had to inject yourself with an EpiPen.
Which I don't have.
Added another layer. Yeah, well, that would have definitely been a problem. Did you have to dig out the stinger, by the way, or did it just kind of fall out? Or
I didn't really stay in me. I have a ballpoint pen. I could have used that, I guess, but that might have just got me some ink poisoning.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the move, but
no.
But you're thinking, we're workshopping this whole thing.
We're workshopping it.
This is all part of it.
Yeah, the stinger was not in me. I did confirm that. It was just
good.
A little red dot, but it was definitely, there've been a lot more wasps out in the area. I've noticed this year.
There have been.
You've noticed it too, a heavy wasp population. Why do you think that is?
I think it's just because it's been it was a warmer winter, so they weren't all killed off. I think that's how it rolls. Yeah. Their population was able to hunker down and then reemerge in greater numbers than before. So you didn't need an EpiPen, you didn't die, but it was irritating and it was burning. And then, so what did you do afterwards? You just kind of came home and had a couple of whiskeys to sort of numb that burning pain, or what happened?
I did. I asked ChatGPT what I should do, and it suggested putting some vinegar on the wound. and that
Yeah.
was a way to kill the venom, which was interesting that it uses the word
Huh.
venom, but I guess it is actually venom. So yeah, I put some vinegar on that wound. I said to ice it as well at the beginning, put a little bit of ice on. I didn't want to make that big a deal about it because it's just a wasp sting. It's not the end of the world. So at least not for me because I wasn't allergic. And so we got that taken care of. And so then went on with the
Very good.
weekend. Yeah.
And that was on your hand, right? You said somewhere like on your finger
Leg.
or
My leg.
leg.
Side of my leg. Yeah. As I
Ooh,
walked, each step more painful than the last.
that is
Yeah.
an irritating place to get one.
Yes. So that was kind of the entrance to my weekend. Before we do shot number 2,
Yeah,
why don't you give us a little summary of your weekend because it was quite
sure.
different.
It was very different. There were wasps involved, but they did not sting me or my wife, executive producer Linda LeBrun, nor Taryn, my brother-in-law. He hosted us at his place up in North Bay, right on the shores of Trout Lake. And I got to tell you, if you have not been to Trout Lake, you would, you know, it would
Say it.
behoove you to do it because it really is a fantastic place.
Old timey phrases is what you are going with today. Behoove.
It would behoove you to get out there to Trout Lake. Fantastic, very
Yeah.
nice, clean water. It's a deep lake, so it's a bit cooler, but actually, it wasn't so bad getting in there. I didn't go all the way in, just to be clear. I kind of went about knee deep,
Why?
which was fine.
Why not
The
swim?
well, lakes. There's a lot of like seaweed and stuff, like kind of
Stones?
tickling
Like,
your undercarriage as
yeah.
you're trying to get in there. So that's a little unpleasant. It also makes me think a lot about Friday the 13th. The two
Oh,
are not really. It does
interesting.
a little bit, and I just think that there might be something under there waiting to
Yeah.
pull me down, which is stupid. It's an irrational fear, but it's one that I live with, Jay, and it's one that did kind of rear its ugly head a couple of 3 days ago. So
Okay, I gotcha.
anyway, the
Wow.
point is, it was a great time, and Taryn is one hell of a host. He really took care of us. He did all the cooking. He was reloading the cooler. I mean, this guy, he's just very Christ-like in his acts of service, and Linda and I felt very taken care of, and it was just an amazing time.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And is it a rocky kind of under the water or is it more sand when
It's
you're
a
walking
mix.
there?
Yeah,
A
it's a
mix.
mix.
Okay. Yeah.
There's also freshwater oysters. I couldn't
What?
believe it. Yeah. Okay, viewers and listeners, do not eat these. Do not eat these, even though they look like the ones you might get at Rodney's. I literally stepped on one. I was like, what is this? And I kind of slid it out from the sandy bottom. And I was like, holy shit, this is like a full on oyster. And I showed Terry. He's like, yeah, they're everywhere. As if it was just the most routine thing in the world. And then he
Like a
goes, do not
wasp.
eat them.
Yeah.
Do not eat them. Don't even ask me if you can eat them. Because he's had this question before.
Got it.
Because I was imagining like some garlic butter and a nice,
Yeah.
like fresh from the lake. No, do not eat them. But it's kind of neat that they're there.
Did he go into any reason why you're not supposed to eat them? Poison?
I think human beings are not really supposed to chow down on lake oysters. I think it's
Okay.
much better to get them from the sea, is
I
my
guess.
understanding. But again, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I can just report my lived experience.
Okay. Thank
That's
you.
all we got here, Jay. It's all we got.
That's all we got. You know what else we got? We got shots.
Let's do
And
the second one.
I think we should do the second one for closure.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you got?
I'm sticking with the McConnells, and I cannot say this enough. You are going to love it. This might just be your new favorite when you try it very soon.
We will see. I am
Yep.
sticking with classic Jameson. I'll see if it still splits on the tongue on this one. Cheers.
Here's to you. That's great.
Ooh.
When you say splits on the tongue, I keep thinking of that scene from Kingpin, the 710 split that
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson's character had to hit in order to scam those guys at the beginning
Yeah.
of the film. Cost him
Yeah.
his hand, but, a great scene nonetheless.
Great scene. Worth it. Worth it.
Yeah,
Barry.
hashtag worth it, yeah.
Let's use that as a jumping off point to say, let's go to 4K Corner. You've got a film that you want to talk to our listeners and viewers about. Please
Yep.
let us know what you've added to your collection.
Well, this just came in. I haven't viewed it yet, but I'm just going to tease it. This is let me just get the camera there. This is the Steelbook variant of Ace Ventura Pet Detective,
Nice.
making its 4K debut. Jay, I know you love the 4K variants. This is
Love it.
available currently on Amazon. So it would be in your interest. I'm not going to use that same old-timey word again.
Yeah.
To add to cart and slam the buy button on that. But what I did watch recently and add to my collection was The Dark Half.
I
Stephen
remember
King
that.
movie. Yeah, do you remember it?
Yeah, it's with Timothy Hutton, I think was his
Exactly
name.
right.
I loved the book. The book was incredible, and so the movie was also quite good.
Yeah, George Romero directed it, and I was asking ChatGPT to kind of compare the novel and the movie, and the results were that this movie is pretty close, like almost exactly like the book,
Yeah,
including the way the ending
yeah,
unfolds. But yeah, Timothy Hutton is doing double duty in this movie. He's playing
yep,
both the villain and the hero, and it does have some really kind of nasty practical effects. Like the villain in this movie is just, you know, very sadistic and he just loves to cut people. So there's a lot of scenes with him just, slashing faces and necks. And so you got to
yeah.
be ready for that, which I was, which is, it's good. And it looks amazing in 4K. I got to tell you, it literally looks like film. So
Okay,
sound is amazing as well.
I may have to borrow that one from you at some point because
Sure.
I love the movie. All right, I like the movie. I don't remember it very well. Love the book, and I'm going to use that as another jumping off point. Lots of jumping off points here because I
Yeah.
didn't know you were going to talk about that. But you know what came from Amazon today for me?
What
Not
was that?
4K corner, but book corner. It's
Yeah.
a collection of short stories based on Stephen King's The Stand, and it's called
Shit.
"The End of the World as We Know It." Set in the universe of The Stand being one of my favorite Stephen King books, one of the first ones that probably the first Stephen King book I ever read. So a bunch of, and an introduction by Stephen King, bunch of authors have written some short stories set in that universe. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool. And they used the title from an REM song, The End of the
Yeah.
World as We Know It.
Yeah.
And I
Thick
feel
book.
fine.
Thick book. There's no pictures in that book. That's a thick book.
It is. Looks like a Bible.
Yeah. So I'm going to be enjoying reading that. That's part of Reading Corner that goes along
That's
here
good.
on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, you're out of the two of us, you are absolutely the reader. I read headlines only, as you know, and I pride myself on it.
Yeah.
Which leads to another jumping off point, which
I
is
mean,
a section that we love to, bring out onto the broadcast. It's called Ripped from the Headline, where we do not go beyond the headline. Jay and I fill in the information that you, dear viewers and listeners, sorely need.
that's why you want to get your news from us. All right. Let's pick one up here at random that you sent to me. Oh, I think this one's going to hit home with you, Barry. I
Yep.
think this one's going
Okay.
to hit home with you. I think that you might know what it is. It's a question, and it's the headline. Is it time to retire the all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet? What do
I
you
thought
think?
this would also resonate with you, Jay.
What do you think?
The answer is absolutely not. I feel like
Interesting.
that is an institution, the all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. In fact, buffets for lunch and dinner as well. The all-you-can-eat, you cannot take that away from people. This is part of living in a free country. You should be able to gorge as much as you want for a fixed price. That's how I feel. That's my view.
Gonna take a counter approach to you on that
Really?
one.
Okay.
You know what? Just for fun, because
Sure.
I think that maybe the days of gluttony may be at an end. This kind of fixed price gluttony, pick it up yourself because you can
Okay.
now you can order, you want a breakfast, you get the 2-egg breakfast, 3-egg breakfast, you can get 12 eggs. If you're going to have 12 eggs, you pay for 12 eggs. And is there anything wrong with that?
Oh, I see what you mean. So you're not so much about against the gorging, you're more about the price should reflect said gorge. If you're going
Yeah,
to have 12 eggs, you bloody well pay for them. You don't pay $7.99 and eat 12 eggs. I get you.
that's right. So that's what my thinking is. And
Yeah,
it
you and I
comes
sync
to
up
you.
on that.
What about it comes to you? What about like if I never had to get up multiple times and go to a table and go
Mhm.
around with this? I think I'm okay with that if everything comes to you. What do you think though? Do you like a buffet where you kind of get up and mingle with folk?
I don't think it's a time to mingle. It's more of a fight for survival. It's get your elbows up and you make your way to the carvery and get that roast beef, like the first few slices, Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the one in Vegas in particular. Linda and I went to a couple in Las Vegas. They know the buffet better than anyone else.
Okay.
The food is sensational. And yeah, long live the buffet. That's all I can say. In
Well,
Vegas in particular.
in Vegas, and now I will say, as a super taster
Right.
and a picky eater, as we might be called, at the Pizza Hut buffet, one of the famous buffets.
Yeah.
The only two pizzas I could choose from were the pepperoni and the mozzarella and the cheese. And so when people would bring out that pizza, there'd be descending on that. And so
Of
I
course.
would, just like anybody else who was a super taster, would take as much of the pepperoni as you could and basically clear it out,
Yeah.
or miss out on it completely, in which case you miss the entire round. And then you're eating breadsticks and sauce. And so,
Which I've seen you do and be perfectly content, but I don't think 10-year-old Jay would have been down with that. I'm
no,
assuming
so
this was when you were a young man.
as a young man, yeah, and would go to
Yeah.
the buffet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of negative memories for me at a buffet, like constantly battling, because as a super taster, there's limited choice. And usually it's the most popular item that super tasters like: the pepperoni pizza, the, hamburgers, the French fries, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's true. Let me ask you this, and we may have covered this on a show like many moons ago, but do you remember for a brief period in time there was a KFC buffet, Kentucky Fried Chicken? You could go and they would just put piles of chicken and fries and gravy and all their sides into the
No,
middle of the restaurant, and you could go.
never.
It was short-lived, but I remember my mom taking my sister and I a couple of times. This was like oh my God, it must have been like in the mid-'80s. And it was short-lived because I
Okay.
think they were probably losing money
Yeah.
because people were doing exactly what you would have done, which is just load up on whatever type of, I want all the breasts, I
Yeah.
want all the legs or whatever your
Yeah.
thing was. But anyway, that just brought me back. That
Really?
was a cool
Okay.
thing. Yeah, I love it was a very short-lived piece of history there, the KFC all you can eat.
I don't even know, but I'm going to have to Google that and just kind of see
Yeah.
some of the history of that, the carnage
I think it
around
was
that
at
buffet.
Square One, if I recall
Okay.
correctly. Yeah.
Before we wrap, I want to ask you, so one of my favorite buffets when I first moved to Toronto, we never went there together, but we call them pilgrimages up to Markham to get to Frankie
Wow.
Tomatoes all you can eat buffet. Did you ever go to Frankie Tomatoes?
I wish I had. I've only just heard the legend. I've heard
Yeah.
tell, but I never went, Jay.
Yeah, it was something else. The number of stations, there was piles of meatballs. I just remember that. There were meatballs on every plate, Barry.
Oh my God.
Because again, as a super taster, for me, a buffet is not a chance to experiment and try different foods. It's to get as much pepperoni pizza, as many meatballs, as much garlic bread as you can. So it's
course.
constant repetition of the same items. That's my buffet.
Yeah, that is the mantra of the super taster. You are living proof that this is a real thing. Is Frankie Tomato still around in Markham? Because if it is, I got a car. We'll go up there this weekend.
Now, I wish if it was, we would do that. It
Yeah.
shut down in the pandemic. It never made it past.
It never survived?
No. And before then, it
Man.
was hours of wait because you couldn't book ahead in those days in the 90s and early 2000s. You couldn't book ahead. And so
Okay.
it was, there were always parties of like 20 people waiting to get in. It was a happening place. It was a huge footprint, but it is now, doesn't exist.
Now it's a sport check.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, let's
Maybe.
hope. I mean,
Sure.
there are worse fates, for sure. All right, Jay, thank you very much for taking us through buffet memory lane. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever done that before. And viewers and listeners, if you're joining us for the first time, stick with us. We're here every week with 2 shots of whiskey and some lively chat. And if you have any comments, please leave them.
Wherever
and we'll
you
be
can.
happy to respond.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Don't just leave them and expect no respond. We will respond. We're happy to engage with our fans.
Absolutely. All right, Barry. Have a great week.
You too, man. And we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. See you later. Bye. Thank you for listening to Two Shot Tuesday. The show is produced by Barry and I and edited by me. If you have yet to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, please take a second to do so now. It helps us grow, and it helps new audiences to find the show. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Two Shot Tuesday, and on Twitter at Two Shot Tuesday Podcast. Stop by, give us a follow, leave us a comment, and share your favorite episodes. If you have a question you'd like featured on the show, you can send us a text at 647-486-4848. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.